All right. Hello, everyone. If you're here for the live, please come on in. Okay, there we go. And if you're just joining, let me know where you're coming from, where you are. My connection. All right, so I had to move my spot where I'm filming because all of a sudden my internet doesn't work where my desk is. This just happened during the last live, so I apologize. My setup is not ideal. Child of God, Huntington Beach, awesome. Not too far from me. All right. Right, okay, I'll read this one. Diddy's entertainment money laundry machine. Who did he work for is my question, because I know it's the elite. So I will be addressing that. So and Sarah Carell, hello. Nicholas Schmidt, glad to be here. Glad that you're here too. What's up with the Lahaina police chief? Nothing good. There's a meeting coming up, but I don't expect much to be done. So the reason I wanted to do this, and this is a really last minute decision. I'm actually was supposed to take today off, but I came across some really disturbing information regarding the Diddy case. And this connects to the big picture. You know, it connects to Pizzagate, you know, the overall trafficking problem that we are learning about. So, it connects to all these disasters. And I thought this was so important because I feel like I kind of have a much better understanding of what this is all about and what Diddy was trying to accomplish. And this is not just him. I think he's probably he's probably one of the more novice of the elites, or I try not to say elites, but the people at the top. I don't think he is really, definitely not at the top. And I think this trial that we're seeing, this court case, is hiding a much worse situation. Okay, they're making it seem like it's just about him and what he did. However, this has been going on for many years, not just with Diddy, but this goes back centuries. The taking advantage of children is not a new concept. I mean, we have excavations where they have uncovered skeletons of children, many skeletons buried, and kind of pointing to this idea of child sacrifice. A lot of the ancient cultures, the Incas, the Aztecs, Mesopotamia, even the native Hawaiians did sacrifice their own people. So I'm not saying that that's what Diddy was doing, but it kind of lends into this idea of using children to benefit the people at the top. And those are the ones that are usually behind all of this. Even if you go back thousands of years, the monarchs, the kings and queens, the high priests, these are the ones that were using these techniques to benefit from. All right, let me get a little bit more tornado damage. Yeah, a lot of we're doing another tornado video soon, so look for that in like the next day or two. And Dominic, hello from England. Hello. Channing Field from San Diego. I moved from Yosemite, where they had fires 20 miles from my home. Yeah, that area is, I think, going to get hit really hard this year. Jay from Scotland, just listening to 10 Gunderson Chronicles, the long the whole log story. Tracy, she Rage Against the Machine. Hello, Dominic. Money laundering machine goes way back. Okay, so I don't know who it was, but someone mentioned on my last live that one of Diddy's artists came forward and shed some light on what happened to him and how something while he was working with Diddy, he experienced something so traumatic that it broke him. He lost himself. He now has to go get an injection because he is now schizophrenic and bipolar. So I actually learned about, what he experienced. And I think I have somewhat of an explanation of why Diddy was doing these things. Like, why was he engaging in such horrible, why was he abusing his artist? And I mean, not just his artists, men, women, and children. And I think I'm starting to understand what that was all about. So I'll be playing that really soon. I'll just wait a few more minutes for more people to join. And I have to do this live because some of these topics I'm going to be discussing are probably not appropriate. So just know that this is not for if you're very sensitive to disturbing topics, this might affect you. And certainly, if there's any children, they probably do not want to hear what I'm gonna discuss soon. Terry Wiley, why can't they stop the chemtrails? Yeah, so the chemtrails, the reason that we have these laws and you still see them is because the state only, I guess, has jurisdiction over the first few thousand feet. And so if the planes are above that, which they usually are, that's considered federal airspace. So these state laws aren't really doing much. Humiliation sacrifices. Yes, that's what he's doing. Hi, Spice. Keep up the awesome work and keep bringing things to light. And yeah, we'll connect soon. Definitely, Spice. We need to put you up on your next video soon. Live gets it out there. You're a strong person. Thank you so much, Blaine. So it's the feds. Yeah, it's a lot more complicated. It's even above that. It's people that are in places where, people that don't ever get caught, people that are above the law. There are people that, we know some of their names, but they're so, they have such a strong hold on our society that laws don't affect them. So they have no consequences for their actions. And I think I've said this before, Diddy is a sacrificial lamb because there's been so much attention on this. They're using him, they're kind of giving him up and trying to make us think that, he was the one at the top. He was a mastermind. He's the one that had these ideas and he's the one that did all these awful things. But it's a lot bigger than that. And it goes back into history. And, maybe one day I'll put something together about the gods or the sacrifice to Baal or Moloch, or some people would consider him Satan. But let me get this started. So this clip I'm going to show is of a artist, a musician named Q. He is part of a group that was in Diddy's show called Making the Band. This is back in 2008. So over 15 years ago, they were on this reality show. And it was very popular. I didn't really watch it, but what Diddy did was found these talented people, and the goal was to get them, signed and get them their careers off to a really good start. But one of them was doing an interview with DJ Vlad. This was a few months ago. And he let us in on something very, very dark. And when I saw this, I was really, really affected. by this because you'll see grown men crying, because this event was so traumatic, not just to him, but his bandmates, because they know. And it's so horrible that they start crying and they have to actually cut the scene. So let me add this. So this was 3 months ago, an interview with a group called Day 26. The guy talking is named Q, and he's discussing what happened to him.
The danger to the world right now. And I think there's a lot of people that are scared that didn't come out in the beginning, that are very scared because it's a scary situation. It's not just him that could possibly hurt you. It's people around him that are still close to him that could hurt you, or it's just really deep, man, with Sean. So I would say I think he's in jail right now just for a good reason.
Well, I did an interview with Roger Bonds, who was in security. Was he around you guys?
No.
No?
I don't think he was around. Well, he was around.
I was around Roger Bonds.
He was around him, right. And he witnessed all the abuse.
Yeah.
But, what you're saying is, basically consistent to what he was saying was that Diddy was, over time became a drug addict.
Yeah.
He would go on these drug binges. Him and Cassie would lock themselves in these hotel rooms for 3-4 days, go on these binges. And during the binges, that's when allegedly the free cops happen or whatever else. And then they would go and get IVs.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Try to rejuvenate themselves.
That's a fact.
And then a week or two later, go through the same type of thing.
He's also the person that said that Diddy said that he never cared about making a band, and he never planned on using, making a band successful. Like it was
just basically like a lick for him. Basically.
Yeah. Like he never really had a business mind for
James said that.
Well, my thing with Roger Bonds was like I had an issue with him, and I was kind of like nervous around them because I was in the email, and I saw some things in a personal email that threw me off guard.
Like what?
I don't want to go into details right now, but it just threw me off guard. You know what I mean? To make me be like, you know what I mean? Like I understand you crying now and of the trauma that you've seen, but what about me, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about the trauma you put me through when I read that email?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's just not like Sean that's guilty. They're all fucking guilty, man. Like, and I'll just put the blame on Sean. I blame everybody that's in his circle. They're all minions and they want to be like him. And if they can't be like him, they try to come against him. If they don't got the money or they can't get it as quick as him or whatever he's doing to get it, then all of a sudden it's like, let's turn against him now. You know what I mean? Because I guess whatever. I don't know.
Well, you said that you've seen the drugged out Diddy.
Yeah.
What would happen during those times?
Well, I mean, I'll keep it very short. Things felt very sacrificial.
Shit.
Okay, explain.
I can't. Because I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy person too. You know what I mean? Because I'm not. But when you're under a power, man, it's just I can't go into details now, but sir, like I'll tell you, it felt like some sacrificial stuff was going on, man. Like it felt very scary and weird to where I ran to get help. I ran to my doctor. I spoke up with my family. I spoke up to people around me because I was like, if this is true, and I'm caught missing or dead or something, I want you guys to know facts and the truth of what I'm going through and experiencing.
Did you have this conversation with the rest of the group?
Yeah, they know.
So when you guys heard this,
we was in tears. Like,
oh,
yeah,
wow,
in tears, real. I love my brother. What's going on? Tears, real, hurt, pain. Like that.
I got to get an injection in my arm every month for mental health now for the rest of my life.
What's the
they diagnosed me as schizophrenic and bipolar. The same thing, kind of like what Fred said he was going through, but I didn't experience suicide thoughts. I experienced other thoughts of being harmed and stuff.
Yeah, I have people in my family who are both schizophrenic and other people that have been bipolar.
Yeah, it's real scary when you got to keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You start doing things. I was like walking around Rochester, bro. Like it's like I really like lost myself for like years. And I don't cry about this no more because I'm stronger. But it's like I was going crazy, bro, trying to figure out like what's going on. And the things that I was feeling are coming to light now. And I'd be like, whoa, that had to be God, intervening and
Absolutely.
removing me from that situation because it could have got really, really bad. So
Yeah, man. I'm sorry to go through that.
it's okay.
Yeah. But at least they found something that actually helps you out to stabilize you. 'Cause I think a lot of people, they self-medicate, whether it's with pills or
Right.
whatever else. Yeah, man. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Not good, bro.
I'll give you guys a minute.
Yeah, I guess like if this would never came out, I still would have been secret about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not no snitch. Like I was gonna just deal with it. And I don't know why somebody that evil would. I don't get it. I don't know why somebody would do that to a talented, passionate people.
Yeah.
Like, we talented, passionate people. I don't understand. No, it's okay, bro. I don't understand why someone would sit down and think about hurting someone. I don't know. Or laugh about it after they do it. Like, I don't get it. That's why I said none of them are innocent. I'm not here to expose anybody, but none of them are innocent, man. Like, none of them are innocent. Y'all all coming after this man for millions of dollars when y'all were a part of it as well. Y'all were down too. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair to him. It's not fair.
All right, so two things I really wanted to point out. One is how this theme of none of them are innocent because the people surrounding Diddy were helping. And we're going to hear soon of someone who helped get Q into a state where something was about to happen to him or something did happen to him. And this person is testifying in the trial. So a lot of these people, like, Bonds that's coming forward and, saying all these things about Diddy, he was complicit and he probably helped. Actually, we do have a testimony that he went and would grab Cassie and bring her back when they were in a physical fight. And, it's not just Diddy, but he's the only one on trial. But there were many, many people that were involved in order to achieve these goals, these sacrifices. And he says that a couple of times. It felt very sacrificial. So when I heard that, I just had to know what happened to him. And he did an interview very recently, a day or two ago. And I'm going to play the podcast he was on where he explains what happened to him. So
around Dirty Money for about a year while they were creating Last Train to Paris. And I guess I was around because I was dating Dawn. So Diddy's like, I think he was very, very high. He's like, we're going to go to the Hamptons. He was like, we're going to go stay the night there and you guys want to come. And it felt very weird because this energy just felt so weird. You know what I mean? It was friendly high. You know what I'm saying? Like a friendly invitation to something.
He wasn't usually like that?
No, he's never invited all of us to one of his houses. We get before we get to the Hamptons, they're like speeding in these black SUVs on the expressway very, very fast. Like they were in a rush to get to the Hamptons. We get to the Hamptons and we walk through the house and we arrive in the backyard near the pool. And my ex at the time, which was Dawn, she gave me an ecstasy pill. And she said...
Is that what she said it was?
Yeah, she said it was ecstasy, and she said it was from Puff to give to me. And it was red. And I took it because I thought I was going to get freaky with my girlfriend, We tried ecstasy before, and I trusted her that that's what it was. So I took it immediately, and she had one too. He gave her 2 of them. I took mine. Within like 20 minutes, I knocked out and blacked out. I woke up in the twins' bedroom in the basement, and I woke up out of my sleep screaming very, very loud.
Who are the twins?
I don't know their names.
Are you talking about Diddy's
Diddy's
daughters?
twins.
Okay.
Yeah. Diddy's twins. His girls. Yeah, I woke up in their bed. 2 cameras filming me, and they were laughing as I woke up out of my sleep, screaming. And it felt like, I'm not gonna cry.
Okay.
Yeah, take your time. It's okay. It's understandable that you're reliving this and emotion comes with it. There's just no way around it. So
It felt very sacrificial. That's what I meant when I said, I felt like they were trying to hurt me, or Diddy was trying to maybe sacrifice me that night. I didn't say, when I went on Vlad TV, I didn't say anything about finding a sacrificial email.
Hold on. What he's discussing in regards to Vlad TV is that's one of the interviews that the boys did. He had to leave gaps within that interview, and they decided to fill those gaps. It's kind of what I've experienced this past week. As you guys know, we started this out, and it was, we all have this intention to talk our way through to the end of this trial and hopefully see justice for whatever whatever is proven and whatever the jury decides. Even you had situations that were just made up out of nowhere. So did I last week. Q was discussing one in which he couldn't say certain things because he's honoring a contract. And within that, people decided to fill in the blanks. So he discussed an email. He had tears. People put it together that he's crying over an email and what it basically tried to suggest that he's not a man and he's boo-hooing over an email.
I know there are some details about the incident you described. Maybe you don't want to get into. And
No, let's get into it.
Okay, we can. Can I go with how, I know you can be open about how it made you feel, right? So you're saying after this particular incident, you left there feeling, you called it sacrificial, but did you felt as if they
were trying to hurt me in my sleep? Because I woke up screaming. I woke up out of my sleep screaming. So what I mean by it felt like sacrificial, it felt like someone was trying to hurt me or take me out because I possibly couldn't have woke up out of my sleep that night.
do you know what happened to you?
I woke up screaming like a girl to the top of my lungs at a high pitch.
Well, did you have clothes on?
I think I was in my shorts because I remember jumping into a swimming pool.
But do you believe that some of what happened to you was recorded on one or many of these iPhones?
Oh, yeah. I saw phones and lights. It wasn't a video camera. It was a phone camera light.
So there are people who do know what happened to you, and there's a reason you believe why they're not telling you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was what happened. I don't think he knows what happened, or maybe he's a little afraid to think about what happened when he was out. But I do want to mention, he says, my girlfriend, Dawn. He's talking about Dawn Richard or Dawn Richard, who was a member of the other group called Danity Kane, which is the other group that Diddy put together when he was doing Making the Band. So that was his girlfriend at the time. She has been on the stand testifying against Diddy. But you see here, right here, she was involved. She gave him that pill, said it was ecstasy. I'm sure it was something else, and helped get this ritual or this sacrifice done. And I think this is what we can kind of safely assume Diddy was doing to other people. I don't think he was the only one. I think there were many. And I did a video some time ago where a man comes forward. His name was Courtney Burgess. He was friends with Kim Porter, who was Diddy's first wife or longtime girlfriend who died under very unusual circumstances. He says he's in possession of recordings of Diddy sodomizing minors, and some of them were male. They were female and male, but this was certainly something he was doing to many of his, I'm assuming many of his artists. And I know a lot of people are assuming Bieber is one of those that are on these tapes. And if you watch what he's been going through recently, he seems like he's very broken. He's really having a hard time with life. And I think that this is what he experienced. And I think this probably happened regularly to Bieber. It seems like Q, once he realized what was happening to him, kind of sounds like he got out of that situation. But I think once it happens, that's always going to stay with you, and your spirit's never the same. And so I started to think, why would Diddy want to do this? Like, what was he getting out of it? He could have found people that he didn't have to drug to do these things with him, men and women, I'm sure. Why was he taking his artist, the people he was mentoring, that he should have been taken care of? Why did he pick them and do this to him, to do this to them? And I really have been thinking about it. I just had to know. And I found something from someone who has been, she doesn't have like proof, but she is a empath, a medium, and she explains it in a way that makes sense to me. Okay. This is the closest explanation that I have heard to explain why these things were done. I'm going to play it right here. Her name is Sloan Bella. She's on YouTube. She's a professional medium, empath. She does readings. And this video, she's channeling Kim Porter because she thinks that Kim was onto this, and that once she found out how bad Diddy was, she was helping the feds. She was feeding them information, and she died shortly after. So let me play this.
Break it down. So what is a way to break down a person? A way to break down a person is to take away their internal security. To take away their internal security is to control them, because once they've lost their sense of self, they're easily manipulated into being what you need them to be. Now, take that in terms of children. When we abuse children, okay, in this world, that is what we are doing. They are harboring just an insane amount of insecurity and lack of knowing of strength and self, and knowing about source connection, because it's been ripped away from them. So what if, instead of saying he's gay, we say that he partakes in ritualistic sodomy passages of right in order to control the soul body of the physical body of the person? Yes, I know what I just said sounds weird, but what if we are to look at it that way? Because that is what I'm actually believing is going on. I don't believe that a lot of what we think is, quote, gay behavior. I mean, technically it's what we label gay behavior, the action. If you're with the person of the same sex and you do that, then that is labeled that. Like heterosexual sex is labeled a man and a woman do this, right? So
okay, she goes on a little about that. I think we're all on board that this Diddy thing is not about hiding that he's gay. I think it's much bigger than that. I don't think Diddy is not, is not using sex because he's attracted, to these individuals. And, after I play Sloan, I'll play a clip that really quickly sums up. But I think you guys kind of have an idea of what he was doing. And then she also goes into the deviancy, and she talks a little bit about what she thinks Bieber is experiencing. So a little bit more of that.
gay behavior, because it's not gay behavior. That's not what we're talking about. There are gay people, but what we're talking about here is ritualistic sexual deviancy used to harness energy of a human being. We are being harnessed, not me, not you, but the people that he's dealing with. And she became privy to this. She witnessed this. Now, if you follow a religion that believes you need the brightest, strongest, most pure energy, most biggest, brightest diamond, like Liz Taylor running around with big, gaudy ass diamonds, acting like that was something. Okay. So let's look at it this way. If you want energy that's as big as a diamond like that and as authentic, where do you get it from? You get it from children. And what if you are using those ritualistic behaviors at children? What if you're doing that with children? What if you are putting spores into children? Okay, what do I mean by spores? Energetic hooks. What if you are putting energetic hooks through the act of ritualized sex, not sex, like not like, oh my God, I'm hot, I want to fuck that person. Not that kind of sex. Ritualized, thought out, planned specifically to rip the person down and hide behind their energy. That is what we are talking about. We are talking about the ritualizing, sexualized aggression directed at young children, mainly male, in order to harness their energy. So it's a hard concept to understand. I don't know that I understand it fully, but if I can use your energy. So we all have that friend that can get us into clubs and restaurants because they're dialed up and everybody knows them and they can get us discounts and all of that stuff. So we love to hang around that friend because we're like, I can get all my makeup, I can get my manicures, I can get into the club, I can get that purse, I can get it before other people. Who doesn't like that? We all like that. But what if we're talking about a religion that hides behind the energy of the most innocent on this planet, who are lit up energetically because it hasn't been broken by this planet? And what if they are using this ritualized sodomy sex in order to separate the human body from the soul body so that they can attach it on the astral, harness that energy, utilize it here, and act like they're all fucking special here, doing bullshit and then making you feel like shit? I'm just asking. What if that is what is going on? Because that is what's going on. I'm using it as a question, but I want you to kind of explore that because it sounds crazy when I'm saying it. That is what she hooked into. That is what she found out. The ritualized sexual abuse of minors in order to tap into energy portals within the soul body.
Okay, that's the part that I really wanted to let people hear because that made sense to me. And as horrible as that sounds, I think this has been going on in all different areas. Yes, now we know entertainment, music. I mean, but even political figures. We can see, we find things through archaeology that these things happened thousands of years ago. There's a stone on the Big Island. I think it's on the Big Island. And it's understood that this is where they would sacrifice people. I don't know what kind of people. And there's even like a little thing where the blood goes. And I think they harnessed that too. And that's really, really dark. I know this is really dark. It sounds like some of you guys understand this already. But, and I know she sounds crazy, but now we know that this is what he has been doing. And I can't understand what else would he be getting from these things? She also discusses Bieber, and she says that, you know, they want the brightest, the person with the brightest energy, the young, innocent, talented children, and they want that. And this is how they either get it or they attempt to get it. But I don't know why. I don't think this was just for his simple enjoyment. I think this thing that we're learning about, or I'm learning about, goes much deeper than that. And if you look at what Diddy has, he supposedly has $1 billion, and he's not terribly talented. He's not a good person. You know, how did he get that? What makes him so special? You know? So I think he was definitely getting helped. He was being mentored by maybe someone like Clive Davis, who is still alive. I actually saw a clip of him. He's going to church now, and he claims he has a difficult time hearing and he has dementia. So now he can't address his thoughts about what he thinks about Diddy. He was definitely his mentor. They worked together, and he was just one of them. But I feel like that explanation kind of helped me understand why he did what he did. And also, why did he get away with it for so long? I think he wasn't the only one benefiting from doing these things. He was making money for other people. I think he had other things that he was earning from. But I think he was just being he wasn't being careful. And it was time to give him up. And what this does, it kind of takes the tension off of the other ones in the crew, the other ones above him that know what was going on. So I definitely think, and I saw some comments about hope he goes away. I think he will, but I do think this trial is covering up a much bigger problem. And there's information out there about Pizzagate, and recently, is it O'Keefe, James O'Keefe? He got footage from inside the Epstein, that dome, that building he had on the island, and there's some really disturbing things in there. If you want to look it up, James O'Keefe, just recently he did an interview talking about, you know, what makes it kind of weird is how did he get to the Epstein compound? But anyways, he found a way in. I think someone must have let him in. And there are things in there that are very, very disturbing, you know, that kind of hint towards child abuse and child sacrifice. I really hope that's not what he did, but definitely the using of young children to harness something from. And that, I think we all should know. It's very difficult to believe. And I think if I had heard this a few years ago, I would have thought it was crazy. But at this point in society, this point of history, we cannot deny it. It's just too obvious. So many kids being kidnapped, so many children missing from these events, these tragedies, from the border to many, many different natural events that I believe children were taken and possibly sacrificed. Okay. Should I go into the Bieber? Do you guys want to hear what her comment on Bieber? Should I go into that, or I don't know how much more you guys want to hear about this, but okay, maybe I won't, but okay, you want to hear? Okay. She does kind of, she kind of pulls some information about what she thinks happened to Bieber and what he's going through right now.
Or spirit body, and then hook into that energy. Now, when that happens, the person, and we'll just use somebody like Justin Bieber, the person who's had that happen, he's given what he wants, which is over here. We know Bieber was famous as a teenager and all of that. How do you think he got that way? Because they harnessed his energy and presented him while him, the self, is broken. He is broken and a shell of himself because he has lost his sense of self. They stole that. That is what they wear. So it's like they're wearing his clothes, but look at it in terms of energy. This is what Kim found out. She found out exactly what was happening. She'd been blocked from that. She'd seen a lot. She'd seen some kinky shit. She'd seen some weird shit. She was asked to participate in things that these narcissistic, psychopathic type people ask their partners to participate in. Okay. Yes, I said the word that I wasn't going to say yesterday, but that's exactly, that's what happened.
Okay, so she kind of talks about that's why she thinks Kim was unalived, that she came across this part of Diddy. So, yeah, I know that's really dark, and I, this is not like information that I like discussing. I just think it's so important that we understand the risks out there and that this type of evil exists, and it's more common than we previously thought, or that I thought. I thought these were things that happened, just in stories and, just in myth. But I think these are happening, every day. And now we're seeing things come out that prove that there is a big market for young children, people in general. But the part that I think we should all be really terrified of is that children are the most valuable of them all. And, they're being traded and they're being bought for large sums of money. And whenever it becomes known that something is worth that much money, we're talking about, I saw a listing, there was accounts on Etsy where people were selling cheese pizzas for like $9,000, or like a handmade baby outfit with the baby modeling it, but it was $30,000. This was out on a public website and being sold. So, the proof of these things happening are just so obvious now. I just don't think we can afford to deny that this is happening. So, yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to get out. Shane, is there any comments? Oh, DJ Brightside, thank you so much for the super. Yeah, I don't monetize these lives. I don't want you guys to see ads. If you do see them, it's not, I'm not benefiting from it. So if you want to donate and send a super, I greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching the recording, that's also not monetized either. So yeah, first of all, this video probably is not monetizable because of the topic. And I just feel like something like this is so important. I don't want you guys to miss out by seeing an ad. Okay, alleged that people in the music entertainment industry are often subjected to a form of MK Ultra mind control, which involves signing away your life, being drugged, and sexual torture. Yeah, and I think we're seeing so many of these successful artists come out, and now we see them, and they're just like a shell of themselves. Many of them, and some of them are no longer with us because they got addicted to drugs, or they are committed suicide. But I think Yeah, we're seeing the results of this. The only good thing to come out all of this is proving that the devils are real creatures, not just a metaphor. Yeah, we're seeing again, yeah, thank you, Doug. So much evidence that this is alive and well. It's obvious he was supplying the top players to bury. Yay. Yeah, unfortunately, I do think a lot of these well-known people were benefiting from these things. I found you through the Hawaii fires. You're doing God's work. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Doug. I'm trying. Without believing an atheist investigated and discovered it is real. I was impressed with that. I am atheist. Yeah, I really was not very religious. I'm not. It's more of a recent thing. I started thinking about, the other side or the spiritual world. And ever since I kind of opened up that part of my brain, I've been able to, I think, just see things so much more clearly and understand things in a way that I wasn't when I hadn't paid attention to that. Clive Davis, even CIA. Right. I mean, this goes really far in as far as like the politics and the three-letter organizations. I try not to discuss that because a lot of people affiliated with those people are often not alive for very long. All right, Jordan Gloss, thank you for the super chat. Thank you both for all you do. Thank you so much for tuning in and keeping up with all of this. Yeah, evil is alive and well. And yeah, I think just a few years ago, I wouldn't have even believed that people could be so evil. But now I totally understand. Jesse did sign official federal affidavit. People kept in cages. Britney Spears, Kanye tried to get away. Yeah, they were drugged. Candace Owens is doing a really deep dive on the handlers that were kind of keeping these stars in line to make sure, they did what they're supposed to do, not talk about that stuff. And if they got out of line, they were drugged and given a mental illness. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing now. Cat's out of the bag for sure. Yeah. Wayfair, Walmart, other retailers investing for colluding and human trafficking and child exploitation. Wayfair, Walmart, other retailers. Yeah, I don't know too much about that, but I know for sure if you look up Ian Carroll, he did an expose on the listings on Etsy. I'm sure they're taken down, but there were people selling cheese pizzas for $10,000 just out in the open. Classic. Yeah, Britney Spears, yeah, perfect example. And then, you know what? Something that might, I don't know, take the edge off of this heaviness, but it does explain what's happening. And this is an example of just putting it all out there before people knew. And it was funny at one point, but it's not funny anymore. I'm going to play this. This is Sacha Baron Cohen on, I forgot who that is.
You won't feel it. You won't feel it. When I do a sex activity with you later. I'm not a homosexual. I'm not a homosexual. It's more of a power trip for me.
Yeah, Jon Stewart was laughing then. Hopefully he's not laughing now. But that's pretty much what these people do. And I don't know, maybe Sacha Baron Cohen also did these things. But I think this is the beginning of the downfall of these industries that participated in this. And I guess it's about time. It's well overdue. Okay, Be Graceful. Thank you so much, Be Graceful, for the super. It's all in plain sight. That's part of the consent. Yeah, a lot of these things, they're not secret, and they haven't been. And, Diddy's been talking about this stuff for so long, and people were like laughing. He's put out videos of people passed out at his party and saying, look at this, this is what happens to the white man when he comes to a Diddy party. And this guy is just like face down on the couch. And now we know he probably got drugged, but they were laughing at him. And yeah, that's another thing that Q said. He just like laughs at it. And I heard this from other people. He tortures them and puts them through all this stuff and then thinks it's funny, which is really sick. Yeah. Oh, Spice, so glad you did this show. Our next show together will blow the lid off things and give a deeper understanding. Yeah. So Spice, if you guys aren't familiar with him, I did a video, I guess a few months already. Spice had a business in Lahaina and escaped the fire, lost his home, lost his business. And he tells this story if you want to look it up. I think that's like 3 or 4 months ago. But he's like a empath, an energy healer. And I want him to come on and shed more light on this, because I'm not the best person to explain how these energy taps and things work. But we'll get to that as soon as possible. And Gail Davis, thank you for the super, not just evil, diabolical. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys are like dumbfounded, or sounds like a lot of you have already been onto this and are just glad that people are talking about it, because I'm one of the many people are talking about this. And oh yeah, okay, yeah, this I did. Thank you for this, Green Earth. Thank you for reminding me. They claim Chris Cornell and Chester from Linkin Park, Chester Bennington. The Linkin Park lead singer committed suicide months apart. They were famous singers. Yeah, they were working on a related documentary. So Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, I think that was his name, they're actually really good friends. They're considered best friends. The rumor is they were going to try to bring this out about how the music industry is involved in this kind of stuff. And they were unalived just 2 months apart from each other. And Chris had just done so if you guys are not familiar, Chris Cornell is the lead singer of Soundgarden and Audio Slave, really probably one of the biggest grunge singers of the 90s. He was found hanging in his Detroit hotel. He had just done a performance the night before with Soundgarden, and he was supposedly sober at the time. And he was supposedly, he committed suicide. Same with Chester Bennington. He was found in his home hanging, and everyone around him just says there's no way. He was happy. He was a good dad. There's no way he would have done that. And so we're seeing so many of these unusual deaths. Dave Mustaine went on the Sean Ryan show and spoke about that. Oh, okay. I have not caught that one, but yeah, I'll definitely check out the Sean Ryan interview. Yeah, Soundgarden, rubbing our noses in it. Yeah, crazy they knew the child sacrifices. Yeah. Yeah, I think if you were gonna come out and spill the tea on this, that you were at risk of being accused of your own suicide. Yeah, a lot of different ones. Hawthorne Heights lead singer. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. Jonathan Audie said, not so crazy now. Yeah, my last live was on what Jonathan Audie said. And at the time, he was considered crazy, but a lot of the things he said is actually true. Okay, this might well be the next order of psyops being conducted on the public. Soul theft through another level of mind control capture. Okay, I'm not sure if I understand that. The comedian Isaac Cappy was killed for calling out his Hollywood buddies Seth Green and Tom Hanks and others. Isaac Cappy, that does sound familiar. Yeah, that's just so to hear like these people that, you know, we once kind of enjoyed watching are involved in this kind of thing is just, he's really like thrown my world upside down, you know. It's not out yet, but he speaks about it in 7 minutes or so. Preview of it must listen to in my world. It's not out yet, but he speaks about it in 7 minute or so preview. Okay, the Sean Ryan one. Is that what you're talking about, Brian? I guess there's an interview coming out that's gonna expose this more on Sean Ryan. Gang stalking. I don't know. Alec Baldwin was shot. Was also working on a documentary about trafficking. Oh, the producer that Alec Baldwin shot. Oh, that was a crazy story. If you guys don't know, Alec Baldwin accidentally shot these two, the director and the producer of a movie he was working on with a stunt gun. And I didn't even know those stage guns could do that. No, Isaac Cappy is a huge hero. Okay, I'm gonna have to look him up. Isaac did a frightening video. He was in real trouble now. Yeah, this kind of stuff will, I guess, get you in trouble. So I'll just say right now, I'm not suicidal. And if anything happens to me, you all need to raise hell. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. We got like about an hour. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and participating, and thank you guys for the supers. But I just thought this was something was just so important that I had to put something out. But I am following this, and yeah, thank you guys for your support and for, you know, just for being here. And you're probably already subscribed, but please like, comment, and share this video. This is definitely something that YouTube will not promote very widely. So if you guys would help get the word out, I'd really appreciate it. So that's going to do it. Thank you guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye.